All right, this meeting is being live streamed. Got it. All right. So here we are. We're at the Oak Hill Collaborative, and it is the last National Digital Inclusion Alliance National Digital Inclusion Week talk for 2022. We've had a lot this week. We actually did an extra day to accommodate for all the talks. We had microcontrollers and sensors using the Raspberry Pi Pico. We had a resume workshop on Monday in preparation for the hiring event that was this past Tuesday. We had Steve Kristen present on what is a smart city. We've had robotics and sensors from C-Test Labs, and trying to remember, Wes Stanton yesterday presented speed running and cybersecurity exploits, just trying to compare them and show they're not that different from each other. And today we're going to end it with a bang with Kaneko Himari, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Kaneko Himari from Brimtone is going to be talking about what it means to be a VTuber and how to stream. And that's how we're going to end National Digital Inclusion Week. If you're watching this in the far, far future as an archived video, don't worry, we are still celebrating digital inclusion in all the different ways, from signing you up for the Affordable Connectivity Program to even selling refurbished hardware such as laptops and desktops. So if you want to get in on that, give us a call. And if you have any questions for Himari here, either during the stream or after, put them in chat or email me at anthony@oakhillcollaborative.org. So I've talked enough. This isn't my show. I'm going to hand it over to Himari. Take it away.
Yo. Hi, Anthony already gave a pretty decent introduction there. He's better introducing himself than me. Hi, I am Kaneko Himari. I am the bassist and artist for Brimtone. We are a virtual band. My other part is Shoji. He is not here today. I am the dingus who's like, oh, I'll do a talk. I talked before. I have done a talk before about this kind of stuff. Thank you again, Oak Hill, for letting me come and say words. So my version of the technical, I'm sorry, I cannot say words today. My version for I cannot say this word to save my life right now. I'm sorry. My version for this week's theme is more relation to virtual avatars and live streaming with them. So as you can see right now, I am not a three-dimensional person. I am a two-dimensional person. I definitely don't look like this in real life. We can all get in the same page and agree with that there. But making this and getting to this point there's a lot that goes into it, but it's very worth it. And there's a few different reasons you would want to do this over just, your traditional, just pop on your webcam and show your face kind of streaming. And we will get into that. But for now, just to start off with, this is made with Live 2D. This is a VTuber avatar. A VTuber is somebody who uses typically anime. Sometimes you'll see other kinds of art forms, avatar like this as, what they do for live streaming, YouTube videos, things like that. So instead of showing their face, they are some kind of virtual character. And I want to scroll. I have to turn my mouse back on. My mouse is dead. Pain. But all right, so when we get to start with this, here, let me show you the rest of me really fast. This is a full body. Some people only do their head and their shoulders. Some people do the full thing. It just depends. But to get to this point, we start with just actually having the character. And I'm going to gloss over this pretty quickly because, this is technical. I don't know why inclusion is, there we go. Now I said it, inclusivity, haha, did it. But, this is more on the tech side of things, but, you have to have your character design started. So for reference, this is mine. This is Ancient. And then this is Shoji, my counterpart. We have to have this to start out with. You have to know that, oh, hey, this is Himari. I know this one. And that brings me into the actual technical side of things. There is a lot that goes into these. As you can see, I'm blinking. I am saying words and my mouth is opening. My cat is blinking with me. And to get to that point, there is a lot of layers. Every part of this drawing is on its own layer. And it is all just completely interchangeable. I can just not have a head. or I can just not have a body. I can make myself bald. Who needs hair, right? But that's the first step is these are very high intensive models. You have to have everything on their own layer and cut in a very specific way, because if you try to just animate a still drawing, you're going to have some interesting warping and it's just not going to look as nice. I just froze my program, so we're going to, oh, my RAM is not happy with me. I have two models open right now. This is the program Live 2D, and this is where like a big center of what I want to talk about is focused in. And I will show you some toggles, and we're going to go over some reasons why you would want to do this, because this here has over 3,000 layers, like with everything included in it. It gets simplified down. So like I kept all the shading separate, things like that. That's why this is so many layers, like 3,000 individual things. But like when you condense it down and bring it into this, it's still a lot of layers. And when you actually go to animate this, there's a lot. But why you would want to do this is, well, first of all, the anonymity of it. I can say that word, but I cannot say inclusivity for some reason. But well, a lot of people, you know, like they don't want to show their face, you know, or you're playing a character. I don't think I'm playing too much of a character. I'm just a dummy who likes to do cool things like this. Because this is facial tracking. I don't think I mentioned that, but this is all facial tracking. This is rigged, but it is not animated. Everything you're seeing here is a reflection of my actual face onto this model. And this is where that magic happens. But anonymity is a big one. If you looked at YouTube or Twitch, which is another live streaming platform, a good example of this would be Iron Mouse. She is a live streamer who has never shown her face anywhere. She prefers not to. She has health issues that she would prefer to not show the world, so she just sticks to her avatar. Or in the case of other ones, like, you know, they might have a job in a business related field. They just don't want, if you Google their name, to, you know, show up as, oh, hi, look, I do streaming, watch me play games and be drunk or something. Like there's a lot of reasons you don't want to have your identity out there, which is all very valid. You know, like sometimes you just don't want to have your name attached to everything you do in this aspect. Another reason is you can just totally just decide how you look, and people will like judge you and perceive you based on that. It's not about what your face is. It's about, oh, hey, look, I have a cat. I've always wanted a cat. I can't have a cat, but you know what? I can have a cat here. And that's what matters. But there's a variety of reasons. There's some that I probably am skimming over, but no, for a lot of people, they just don't want their face to be what you see. And with things like this, that is possible. Now, this model, like drawing it, took about a month and a half, about 3 months to get both of the models for Brimtone drawn. I was going to show Shoji's version 2, but then I realized I am not nearly done enough for that to be good for presentation. But actually, for the purposes of just like example, as you could see, like these down here are all of the parameters. As you can see, there's no red dots. So this is all blank because he is not nearly done yet. But on the Hemity model, all of these have toggles. All of these are individually done and rigged. So this is the front left side of the hair here. Can I get my mouse to zoom in? Yes, the scroll's working. Yes, my mouse just died again. Hey guys, just charge your mouse batteries, please. Just do that for me. But this is the default for it. And I can move it around based on the parameters I have set. When you actually click on one of them, let me pop this open here. These are the folders for all of the layers we have drawn. And these are the warp meshes for these things. So up here, we move around these arts with these warps. Here we go. No, I'm trying to move it. There we go. So like this is the default one. If I want to make it look like it's moving upwards, we use those meshes, which is why you do not want to have all of your separate layers. You don't want all your layers on one layer, because if you try to do this and everything is in the same layer, you're going to look funky. You're going to look real funky. But So for some of the things like this, though, because you can apply real life physics to these, like you can apply physics to your models as well. That's why this has so many individual layers, is for the physics tool. Oh, there you go. And that's for the one up here that's doing its thing. Now, this is not the only kind of model you can make. There are also three-dimensional ones, like 3D, like actual, like, you know, like Frozen Elsa, like 3D models. Those are also something that people do. I am not very well versed in those aspects, but they use like programs like FaceRig. VBridger is used with iPhones, things like that. Like there's different programs for different dimensions. In the 2D realm, like this, me right here, this is a program called Vtube Studio. This one is a paid program. You can also use, I think it was VC Face. There's PRPR Live. If you look around, there's a few different programs. I know FaceRig was a really big one as well. It just depends on what you specifically want to do and what your resources are. Because this here is a custom model. But if you do something like, if you want a free model, Vtube Studio does three-dimensional models that you can make for free. There's also, I think it was like, I cannot remember the name of the app right now. There's apps for it as well. If you want to start streaming and you want to do this, you do not need to have money, and you don't need to try to make it yourself with like the full hardcore art aspect, like right here. This is purely for just technical fun. This is also something that gets very expensive if you try to commission one. Like some of the higher end models can go above $10,000. And that's not the average, but like depending on the model you get, it can be very expensive. It can be very time consuming. I really recommend you try like play with Vroid first, something like that. Or if you just want to start with just having a character design and just using that everywhere before you get an actual model to see how you like streaming or content creation in general, like go for that. You don't have to have this right away. This is a luxury. But here, I'll show you some of the toggles real fast as I actually talk. So like everything you see here was done with the meshes to just give the illusion of movement. Everything here, like I said, had to be on a separate layer for this reason. You can't do a lot of these toggles if everything is on the same layer. That cat was very complicated, I'll tell you that. Like here's the necklace moving. I will open the physics window. I have to remember where the physics window is. No, show. Remember the last time I messed with physics. But you can use, oh, I just have to work. Here we go, physics. You can use physics in these. This is something that also makes things more expensive. And I don't know where the top of that window is. Oh, it went up there. Let me move my mouse. There we go. So this is the physics window. This is where all of that complicated stuff you saw with the hair kind of comes into effect. So, I mean, oh, I broke it. That's why it's looking strange. I broke it. You see this little pendulum here? This is showing you how strong the physics is because, yeah, I've completely frozen this program. I'm sorry. But what happens when your program isn't frozen because you're eating all of your RAM is that you pick a group. Right now it's on the necklace. You input your X and your Y or your Z, any parameter you want. It goes off of how strong my body is moving. So if I like jerk around, you're going to see my necklace jerk around because that's how it works in real life. If you have a really dangly necklace and your car swerves really hard to the left, your necklace is going to react to it. But you can input those, tell it how strong you want it to be, like right here with the effectiveness, and it will like in turn do what you ask. It's like here to be more specific, like, look at that. And that's what happened in real life. You know, if I like throw myself this way, your necklace is going to move. Although you can also play with how strong it is. Like this is obviously, you know, you like cartoons, like this is cartoony. I want to make it look as ridiculous as possible. That's the fun of it. Let me go back to this. I'm going to close this because I broke it. I've completely frozen Studio there. Okay, but that's why there's so many different little things in this, is because I want to make it as detailed and accurate as possible. So I want to make sure every single frame is perfect for it, so it actually shows up nicely when it actually gets done. The more complex you get, obviously, the harder it's going to be, but I think the results are much more worthwhile and you can see it. And I'm just going to keep giving myself motion sickness. We'll go back to here for a second while my program sorts itself out, because I'm freezing like everything right now. My computer is not happy with me. Oh no. But like I said, like now that you've seen kind of how it gets rigged, you could, like, I'll show you a bit more of the layers, because this very complicated. Like every single thing, like there's layers behind the layers. Like if I just hide the head, like you can still see the hair behind, because another reason you want all these layers and you want to kind of stack them is because if you move one direction, you don't want to have it move too much and it looks kind of like a PS3 game. But you will have spots if you are not careful and you try to move something and there's just not the correct thing behind it. You don't want a transparent hole. You want to make sure everything does look as real and three-dimensional as possible, even if you are two-dimensional. Okay, zoom needs to move. Moves. There we go. And we go. I'm sorry, I did not mean for Vtube Live 2D to freeze on me. To give a quick overview of Live 2D, this is a paid program. It is $30 a month, I believe, and this is what you can use to rig. I have not seen any other program used to rig 2D models besides Live 2D. This seems to be pretty much the standard. It does its job very well, as you've seen. For 3D models, a program you can use is Blender. Blender is like one of the most popular choices. That is where you can build your model from scratch. Vtube Studio you can use if you want to just do a free model. Well, they're both free, but Vtube Studio is much more beginner friendly and much more just user friendly in general. That's more akin to like a dress up game, and then you're done. So you can also export that to Blender if you want to make it, prettier, more detailed. I don't have an example for you on hand because I don't do three-dimensional things. I apologize. I'm waiting for this to unfreeze. Please unfreeze program. I beg. I should not have tried to open two of these at once. Because I know you're not closing, buddy. I'm trying to close you. Okay, I'm just gonna click off of that. Do I try to open? I'll try. So to actually include this, it opened in the wrong tab. I'm sad. But to actually tie this back into things like streaming, to do this on things like YouTube, they also have, nothing is opening the way I want it to, and I'm quite sad. Like they also have programs that interface directly with it. Like Vtube Studio specifically has a lot of plugins you can use. Let's do plugins. That's easy. That's easy enough to show. This is terrifying. Which you can use to interface with different programs, which is also fun in the technical side of things. So when you actually start the API with the plugins, you can see what plugins are actually going on. For me, I just have one with my Stream Deck, so I can change my expressions and like do things like this with the hit of a button without having to go and manually like doing it myself with different parameters. I can just press the button and there it goes. You can also be mad at, I'm just disappointed in you. There is a lot that goes into all of this. There's so many layers. There's all sorts of just wacky parameters, but this is definitely like, this is coming out in a big boom. If you go on YouTube, it depends on your demographic, obviously, but there's a strong chance you've seen at least one VTuber pop up at some point somewhere, whether it be somebody like Iron Mouse or like the really big HoloLive people, or even just like other little indies. Like this has become a big boom, especially during COVID. Once COVID hit, a lot of people like this blew up, like this as a medium kind of really hit the mainstream. So there's a lot of innovation going on every day. Vtube Studio has a new feature set to release in the next couple of weeks that's using RTX. and just things like that are just really expanding. So honestly, come back in a year and this talk might be outdated. You might see more crazy stuff. There might be a way to just, I don't know, metaverse it. I know nothing about the metaverse. All I know is apparently it's like VR chat. But there's just so much that goes on with this that my little corner of it, my little portion is just, I can make a live 2D model. I can draw the several hundreds or thousands of layers and connect them. So you can see that my face is getting tracked, and you can see my face is an anime face. There's some people who do the same thing, but with 3-dimensional models. They'll make those from scratch. Bless them. There's some people who they will just like advertise themselves with just a PNG of their character for now, because again, this gets kind of expensive. There's a wide variety you can use in this medium. There's so much you can do with it. I'm very excited to see where it goes. I wish I could show you more of this, but I managed to freeze my program. Don't do that. It won't close. I tried. But just if you want to get into this, there's a lot of amazing resources. The Live 2D website has a lot. There's a lot of people who will draw this for you. There's a lot of people who they make their living off of this. They will draw and rig your models for you. Some people only do rigging. Some people only do the art. Like there's just a wide variety of people with this. And I really had so much more to say with my freaking Live 2D. This is a RAM eater. That's your warning now. It's a bit of a RAM eater. There's a lot there's not that much computer power going into actually tracking your model. Like obviously the nicer webcam you have and like the more RAM you have, the smoother it's going to go. Some people use the iPhone. The iPhone is the best tracking for face tracking. So people will like hook up their iPhones to their computer to do their face tracking. I just have a webcam. That is a way you can do your recording is with your iPhone. You can use your Android phone. If you only have that for a webcam, you can use an actual webcam. There is such a strong way, like variety of ways you can do this. There's not just one way. Like for me, it's over here. No, it's over here. It's just that. You can also see where my face is getting tracked. That is something I can show you since a big bulk of what I want to show is frozen. But as you can see, it's tracking my face. I can smile, I can move around, and it does what I do. There's other programs that do this. The iPhone, it looks incredible. There's also a plugin called VBridger with the iPhone that makes it look even more incredible. Like it's just a matter of what resources do you have, but almost anyone can do this as long as you have a computer, some kind of way to get a drawing, and a lot of hope. If anybody wants resources on how to get started getting a model like this, or like how you even want to get started like doing YouTube with this or Twitch with this, just ask Anthony. He can ask me if he doesn't know. Like here are some settings you can mess with this. Like I just never have my eyes open, or I can have my eyes super open. It is all a matter of me forgetting what I set that setting to. There's all sorts of things here. Like I can do the strongest stuff because I have a pretty strong computer. But if you have like, there's only so much you can do. You can also change to like 30 FPS. The syncs are with your phone. There is a Vtube Studio app that you can connect to your phone. Like I said, people with iPhones can do that and they have the best tracking. Android has not nearly as good tracking, but if you don't have a webcam, you can use your Android phone with this. Like that is a way you can use. Like you hook it up to Wi-Fi basically, and you connect with the Wi-Fi to get your model on your screen. You see where I can find that. That is on a different tab. Yep, it's on this tab. So like right here, you have your little port and you can start a server and you can connect a phone. That is what Shoji does actually. He uses his phone. It does not have as good tracking. There's some things it does not support, but it is a method. There is always a way. You can always find a way. This is a really fun blending of art and technology. And that's the fun part about art and technology. It's never just one way. Well, at least in most cases. Technology can sometimes be a bit more rigid, but there's never just one way. there's a wide variety of ways you can do this. Now I'm just kind of going around and looking for some of the fun features to show you here. You can rig your model to go by like what sound you're making as well. As you can see, like the AI UEO, Japan made that in a strange order. You can go by like mine is set so when I talk, it goes off of my voice volume and it goes off of like the motion my mouth is making. So like I can just go, and even if my mouth isn't making that exact shape, it goes off of that and like does an actual big smile. I'm trying to see if this is ever going to unfreeze itself. It is not unfreezing itself. Oh, I don't want to close it though. Oh no. Oh no. Like I was going to show how the physics window worked and I got too excited and now it's just frozen and I'm gonna have to mess with that later. I apologize. I really did intend to show like a lot more with the physics in the live 2D and that was like a big bulk and that just kind of happened. But there is so many ways you can mess with this. What this means is like you can automatically like have it track you and calibrate you, or you manually calibrate it every time you open it. Calibration is pretty much, it gets a feel for your face and how it wants to track you. So like right now, mine's just on automatic because it does a pretty good job of that. But like manual, you hit this and you basically make your face do as many funny shapes as possible. And it kind of goes, oh, now I know that's what you smile like. The AI in this is actually pretty good. And it's really neat. Okay. Well, before I hand this back off to Anthony, since a big bulk of what I was going to do was in the program that is not responding, I will just give one more little fun demonstration of what this can actually do. Let me scroll down, scroll. Oh, okay, that's as much scrolling as I'm going to get. So like I said, there's full body models, there is half models. It all depends on budget, time, and resources, as is everything in life. The only plugin I really use is the one that lets me do things like this, where I can move myself around. I can play my bass as well. Like there's just all sorts of just toggles you can do, buttons you can press. That's my screenshot button. Does it still work? It doesn't. Overall, though, this is just I really recommend this if you want to get started in streaming and for whatever reason you don't want to just have your face out there. If it might be a lack of confidence, it might just be, wanting to have your private life stay private. It might just be the fact that you want to be some, cool looking cartoon character. It's entirely up to you. We all have our own reasons. This is a really fun art/tech form. A lot of people use this for their streaming. A lot of people use this for their content making, and some people just have it to goof around with. You can set this up to be your webcam, as you've seen. Like, I think it froze Zoom. I froze everything. Oh no. But as you can see, when I'm talking to Anthony here, he doesn't see like a 3D webcam. He sees this because I have this set to my webcam. There is a bunch of ways to play with this. In some ways, I don't even know yet because it hasn't been done yet. Overall, like I said, I really do recommend this. If you want to get into this, please just shoot Anthony an email. If there is any questions, Anthony, before I think I am finished.
I've been keeping an eye on stream. I don't see any in live chat, but this has been very interesting. Very similar to the talk you gave last year with a new fun twist. I like the background. And I think also last time when you presented this, you only shared your screen. You didn't set the character model to be the webcam. And now I feel like I'm the weird one, just showing my face on stream. I do think it's very interesting how you guys utilize this technology to perform music live. So before we go, can you just kind of talk about that experience and how, you started out just figuring things out in our multimedia lab downstairs, and fast forward today and you and your your musical partner are now creating music and performing live using the internet and all of this wonderful technology. So, can you kind of describe your journey as a musician?
Oh man. This is another reason I'm sad that my main program here is frozen, is that we had no idea what we were doing, like at all, just none. Like I was the one who approached her. It's like, let's just make a VTuber band. And he's just like, okay. He doesn't argue, he just watches the weird things I do. But to do this stuff simultaneously, like the character designs obviously were made with the fact that we like to play rock and metal music in mind. That I can actually, yeah, let's do that. We can do that. I can show you that. There we go. But this was made with the fact that we do rock and metal music in mind. We have models that we can play our instruments on. The new one I'm working on for Shoji they have introduced, since we've started, hand rigging, where it tracks your hands as well as your face. But to actually do this journey, involved drawing the instruments, getting all of that ready, and then to actually perform this live, first of all, get a stronger computer than what we had, because we brought our own computer and we probably should have gone with one of Oak Hill's, and we froze during our debut concert. That was fun. But if you have a good audio interface, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Oak Hill's Audio Lab has one downstairs that has been very useful for us. We can record ourselves on the microphones and play an instrument simultaneously. So it is possible to do live music down there if you want to go just pure digital. At least the last time we were there, we were able to manage to do that. I believe they also have a guitar. Do you guys still have the guitar down there? I think you do.
Yes, we actually we have a couple instruments down there. We have a MIDI keyboard that's connected to the multimedia lab computer. We have an electric guitar. We do have just a regular electronic keyboard. We have an amp, and we have a audio mixer that you can connect all of this to, and calibrate the separate channels. It is, if you are a musician, the ultimate space to create just about anything you want. And we also have the One Studio audio editing software. We have Audacity, we have OBS, we have the Adobe suite. So the multimedia lab was built in mind with this concept of, if you have an idea, we want to give you the tools to make it happen. And I say all the time that Brimtone is our proof of concept. Yeah, I never expected that turning a storage closet into a multimedia lab would result in two people making what I would consider to be the equivalent of the Gorillas, except for I think the difference between the Gorillas and you guys is that the Gorillas is pre-animated. They draw all that out before they perform. You guys use this software to just kind of do it on the fly.
Honestly, I really do like it as well, especially for the fact too that I can just wear my pajamas. I can wear my pajamas right now and you wouldn't know it because I'm showing this. And that's also that's a very strong reason for wanting to use this instead, is you don't have to dress up super nice. You can just hop on your computer, pull up your live concert stuff, and you can do a whole set and just be in your pajamas. It's fantastic. But if you want to get into the side of actually playing music live and stuff, like I said, there's hand tracking now. That's in a model that is still under production for us. I'm still working on it. All of the graphics in Brimtone go through me. I think everything but the proper Brimtone logo was made by me. It's the art side of things takes a minute because of just the fact that I am a one-person bottleneck. But it is definitely doable. Even if you don't have the hand tracking right now, you still get the idea that I am playing an instrument. That is a thing that happens. I can set hand tracking that to now, can I? I think I can. That is something that is very possible now. You don't have to have the fanciest things in the world. You can just get it done. I seriously can't thank Oak Hill enough though, because me and Shoji live kind of far away from each other. And when Brimtone started, I did not have a home office. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. You cannot play rock and metal music very loudly in a one-bedroom apartment, digital or not. Our debut live stream concert was done in the Oak Hill Audio Lab because they're amazing. They have that space. It has the internet very much capable for live streaming. It has computers and the audio interface much required and capable of doing this. Like you can play a bass and you can sing and do it all live from Oak Hill. Like it is such an invaluable resource to how we got started. And I'm very thankful for it, for letting us be able to get this start and do this before we were able to really get ourselves in a position to do it from home.
As always, we appreciate the praise, but really what we'd like to see is cool projects like this come to fruition. And thanks for the shout out. Multimedia Lab is available by reservation, and if you just want to check it out and see if it fits what you need to do with your project, Makerspace Night is every Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Stop by, we'll give you a tour, and you'll get to see what all we have in there, and start to get ideas for what kind of project, musical or technological, you want to put together. So I feel like we're getting to the end of the presentation here. Is that right, Humari?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're fine, we can wrap up here.
Yeah, my
Awesome.
main program froze and it's not reopening.
It happens. There have been so many times I've gone to Code Youngstown talks and someone's like, look at this cool gadget, and then it doesn't turn on.
Just
I
pain.
like to think that the things that we make get stage fright easier than we do. So that being said, we are going to wrap up here. This is the end of Digital Inclusion Week. Thank you, Humari, for being here, and thank you to all of our presenters who've been able to give a talk this week. Oak Hill Collaborative is forever in your debt for being able to provide all this wonderful information and celebrate Digital Inclusion Week with us. All right. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream. So any last remarks?
Thank you for coming to Digital Inclusion Week. Super fun to be here. And thank you in general for just liking Oak Hill. I can't say words this morning. Oak Hill Collaborative.
Oak Hill
This
Collaborative.
is a really, really cool resource to have in Youngstown, and I'm just really appreciative that it exists.
All right. Well, you heard it here. So if you're curious, stop by next Wednesday on Makerspace Night. But outside of that, we are out of here. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.
Peace.